What was that?
Everybody get back!
Oh,
no!
Superman! Are you okay?
I am now.
The following program may contain coarse language, suggestive dialogue, and discussion of violent imagery and sexual situations. It is intended for mature listeners who can tell the difference between facts and opinions.
We're questioning the sanity of the network again on this episode of the Toonami Faithful podcast. I am your host, Sketch, and with me I am
Paul Biscrillo, the founder of ToonamiFaithful.com.
And
editorial writer, VLord GTZ.
You said that wrong. There's nobody else here. There's a way of saying things if you're the last person. Right? Can we all agree on that?
I guess there is.
I guess. It's too late at night to be talking about this.
And editorial writer, VLord GTZ.
Yeah, I gotta get deep in the intonation there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Speaking of going deep.
I'm not quite sure what you're segueing into there, Paul.
Well, Sketch wants to stab somebody deep, apparently.
No. I do not want violence upon these lovely people. This is no. I just have questions. I just question the plan. So we got a press release. What was it? Was it Monday morning or was it Tuesday morning?
Tuesday morning, I want to say. Tuesday or Wednesday.
Tuesday.
It's been a long week.
Tuesday morning. I swear they never work on Mondays.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got this press release on Tuesday morning, which admittedly probably was written on Monday.
Well, so we should kind of set this up a little bit differently because I'm trying to think of what his name is because again, I've been doing so much this stuff. Okay, him.
He's the head of the network.
So he was he doing an interview or was he was just an interview in, what was it, Deadline, I think?
Yeah, there was a Deadline interview that came out that same day.
Yeah. So shortly after that came out, this press release came out. And lo and behold, all of a sudden, and I find it funny because I actually retweeted this today. You know, remember that guy that said, "Oh, I have it under good authority that Warner Brothers Discovery is gonna get rid of CW on Adult Swim." Oh, well, you're a little bit wrong. And they're actually expanding Adult Swim. So, yeah.
Yes. That is true. Yeah. Adult Swim for the first time will be starting at 7 p.m. for 6 nights a week. They'll probably still start around 9 o'clock on Sunday, or whenever the Sunday night movie ends, basically.
Right.
And that is certainly unprecedented, rather unexpected, and a bit of a head scratcher. Confusing. But there could be very good reasons for this, such as from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m., Cartoon Network's audience is 68% viewers over the age of 18, according to this Deadline article. And you may recall in a prior press release when they were talking about their Cartoonato block and Bat Wheels, they mentioned that the median age for Cartoon Network daytime is 29 years old. That's
Jesus.
Almost outside the primary Adult Swim demographic of 18 to 34, which is certainly not 18 to 34, but yeah. There's, I don't. Well, if I look at Cartoon Network today, I ask myself, why would I watch this?
Well, I look at Cartoon Network and go, what is this?
I mean, don't get me wrong. I like shows that are on Cartoon Network, but the way they schedule them, you really just want to watch the premieres and don't worry about any of the reruns, of which there is many.
Right.
At least in the case of a handful of shows, there are many, many, many reruns. That is kind of a problem. I certainly think that people might prefer variety, but I don't know. Now, obviously, the Cartoonito block is intended to be watched by preschoolers and their parents, so I'm sure that is a factor. The Bat Wheels show is designed to appeal to kids, but also to be entertaining to their parents, which is all well and good. But like Cartoon Network's day parts, when it's Cartoon Network, did gain a little bit more time back from Cartoonito after they, frankly, had that block on for way too long, and then they scaled it back to a reasonable level. But now Cartoon Network is losing their 1 hour of sort of prime time, and that, as a longtime Cartoon Network viewer, it just doesn't feel right. that stings a little.
Well, I mean, I hate to say it, but we've been saying this for years that Adult Swim is doing better than Cartoon Network. So,
oh yes, absolutely.
So, I mean, am I really that surprised that this actually happened where they're getting another hour? No, not at all. Not at all. I'm
still a little surprised.
No, I mean, look.
Mostly because they don't they don't really need it.
Well, they don't. Well, I think the main concern is not having enough content to fill it, especially with Bob's Burgers going away here soon.
Yeah, I think that's in the fall.
Yeah.
There's like no confirmed date for that.
So, I mean, I would say like 7:00, as long as they have the content and it makes sense, I'm okay with that. But that's been my thing all along is like, do you have the content to do certain things with not just Cartoon Network, but with Adult Swim? I mean, the kids block in the morning, for example, I think
the preschool block.
Right. What's wrong with that is that they did it too late. If they had done this years ago, I guarantee you it would be doing better than what it is right now.
Now, let's be fair. They did try that. It was called Tickle You, and it didn't last.
Did they do that? I don't remember that at all.
Oh, yeah. You're talking to a Cartoon Network schedule historian here. They had a preschool block.
How long was it? Was it just in the early morning, or was it?
It was kind of midday from probably around 10 to 1-ish, 2-ish.
Oh, no wonder it didn't work. That doesn't make any sense.
What are you talking about? That is when you would want that, because the kid...
Speaking from a parent, as a parent.
Oh.
Speaking as a parent, your child typically gets up between 7 and 8 o'clock, sometimes even before that.
Yeah, but they want to catch the slightly older kids before school too, which is where they usually buried action cartoons, much to my chagrin.
Yeah, and it didn't. Yeah, but honestly, like if they had done that for preschool kids, I think a lot of parents would be watching it at that point. It's just, doing it at 10 o'clock is kind of like, okay, all right. This one actually is in the morning.
I think maybe it started as early as 9, but yeah, starting at around 8 seems right to me, because I mean schools
7 a.m.
schools
8
start
a.m.
early.
So
Yeah. Anyway, it seems like that part of the network is working out fine, and that's good. But but then the rest of the network. What is going on with the rest of the network when they do have things in development, but there are long spans of no information about them, which is not encouraging, because there have been numerous projects that were intended for Cartoon Network that were either canceled or sold to the highest bidder.
Well, I think part of that problem was AT&T, because they didn't run the fucking company the right way. I mean, you can see that from that lawsuit, and I don't even know if anything's happened with it. I think it was in Ohio. There's a lawsuit about something involving not Warner Media. Obviously, it's Warner Brothers Discovery now. Warner Media Discovery or whatever.
Yeah, AT&T did not do the good bookkeeping.
So I can completely understand why they would have to do certain things. And after they kind of explained it, it was kind of like, oh, okay, maybe this was all warranted for a reason. But I mean,
tell that to all the people whose shows got canceled.
Yeah. I mean, think about this. Like, you have a Batwoman movie, Batgirl movie. I'm sorry. You could have put that on HBO Max. You got the Batman show that you guys were putting together, and instead of putting it on, well, Toonami or Adult Swim or Cartoon Network or whatever, you end up putting it on, selling it to Amazon Prime. So you got to kind of start questioning, like, okay, what are we doing here? Like,
what are we doing here?
I mean, so obviously we're alluding to what is going to be coming to Adult Swim and Toonami, and why that makes our heads scratch, makes us scratch our heads more. But it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense that if you want to do a more action animation and on Adult Swim, and that's what you're trying to do now, then why did you get rid of Batman? You know what I mean? No.
Well, that's the one people were willing to pay for.
No, but see, that's the thing. Like, now, how much did they pay for Batman? If they paid a lot of money for Batman,
probably a lot of money.
They probably needed that money to pay off the debt. So I mean, can I sit here and say that was a bad move?
The whole reason
I don't know.
that they sold those things was to, make some money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and think about this too. Like, they're suing Comedy Central about South Park.
Yeah. Oh boy. I look forward to seeing how that goes.
Yeah, I mean, it could go both ways, honestly. I think both places are gonna get slapped, honestly.
Yeah, neither of them are quite meeting up to their obligations.
Right. Now,
the question is who's doing worse.
Right. And to be honest with you, I mean, it probably is more going to be on Comedy Central, because they're not really doing what they're supposed to be doing. So I can understand that if you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, why would I give you money? But
I'd be pretty amused if the judge looked at it and go, "Get out of my courtroom."
Both of them. So
yeah. So Adult Swim is adding an hour 6 days a week. Yes, that means Adult Swim on Saturday will be starting an extra hour earlier. And considering they're currently playing 4 episodes of King of the Hill and 3 episodes of American Dad before Toonami, what are they going to put in an extra hour?
Another 2 episodes of King of the Hill?
Yeah, obviously. Well, I think the fairly likely answer is probably an hour of Futurama, which they have kind of relegated to 4 a.m. for the most part. For a while now.
Yeah, I don't get that.
I kind of feel like they're trying not to let it get overexposed, so when they have to rely on it, once Bob's Burgers is out of the equation, that they can do that. Also, what are they going to do on weekdays? Probably an hour of Futurama, unless they might have some ideas up their sleeve, because when they originally got 8 p.m., and let's remember that when that happened, people were like, "Are you kidding me?" Yeah. When they originally got 8 p.m., they were a little bit experimental. They tried some different things at 8 p.m. Most of them did not pan out, and so they just went back to old reliable Fox shows. And you can't beat reliability like King of the Hill. However, it may or may not go that way this time. But some of the language in these press releases at least implies that maybe one of these shows might get a primetime airing, which we'll get to. I don't know. But anyway, we've been kind of burying the lead here, but it's all incorporated and related. Yeah. We've been asking for months now, what could possibly be coming to Toonami later this year other than the anime co-productions? Well, it turns out a couple of American action shows.
Mm-hmm.
But the caveat is they're not going to premiere on Toonami.
And that's where the head scratching is, yeah. And as we've seen with season 2 of Primal, this isn't going to make Thursdays look good.
I mean, Primal did okay on Thursdays, but it did better largely on Toonami.
Yep.
Oh, yes. Starting May 4th, they will be premiering Gendy Tartakovsky's upcoming series, Unicorn Warriors Eternal, which was intended for Cartoon Network, specifically for their Acme block on Sunday nights, which does tend to aim broader than the rest of the Cartoon Network. They play lots of PG-13 movies. But I think the fact that so many of the things that they were intending for that block either got written off or got sold off, they just kind of gave up on trying to make shows for it. So instead, they're honestly taking the easy route and just throwing it on Adult Swim.
Mm-hmm.
They're promoting it, so bless their hearts for that.
Yeah.
Because, if this sort of thing aired on Cartoon Network, who knows how much they would actually pay any attention to it.
Now, see, the one thing that doesn't make sense about it is you're going to put this on Thursday. You're going to premiere it at midnight. Okay.
Yeah, midnight.
But you're going to have the 7 o'clock hour.
You start at 7 p.m.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Like, you have the 7 o'clock hour. Why wouldn't you just do it at 7 in prime time hour?
Well,
or if you don't want to do it at 7, do it at 8 o'clock.
Do it at 10.
Something, yeah.
It is, well, for one thing, Adult Swim premieres do tend to do better around midnight. That's just kind of the place that people expect them to be. But if you want to move the bar even a little bit, you gotta try to experiment here. Like 11 o'clock at least. That's after all the network primetime shows.
Right.
10 would be relatively safe.
Mm-hmm.
7 would actually be very safe because that's before network primetime. So, yeah, why not premiere it at 7, encore it at midnight?
Yeah.
Or premiere it on Toonami. And then encore it at more watchable times other times of the week. Like they should. This might actually still, quote unquote, air on Acme night because that does incorporate Adult Swim shows.
Right.
They're going to be playing Joe Pera for filler pretty soon.
Well,
mostly it's been Bob's Burgers.
Well, first of all, I find it hilarious that when if you remember when I was sitting there like all excited that they took a copyright out for this show, I was like, oh, this is a new Toonami show. And then they're like, no, it's not a Toonami show. And now it's a Toonami show. Like, what are we doing here, guys? Just listen to what I tell you and do it. I don't know.
Hey, you know, this might mean Scavengers could premiere on Adult Swim instead of HBO Max.
I mean, it's very interesting right now to see what they're trying to do and where their mindset is at. Because, you know, and I joke that one idiot, you know, was wrong. Obviously, they want to invest in Adult Swim. So it's just very interesting to see that they're actually moving in that direction. Because how many times for years and years and years did we say, invest more in Adult Swim? That's where all of us are. Like,
yeah.
The reason people moved away from Adult Swim is because you stopped investing in it. Like, you invest in it, you give us options, you're going to get more people back. And this is a little bit off topic, but on the same kind of thing that we're talking about, you have an app for Adult Swim that's beautiful. Why, in God's name, have you not done a subscription service for it? People don't want everything
HBO
on
Max is still there.
Well, right, but not everybody wants HBO Max content. They just want the Adult Swim content.
Oh, I see how it is. We could keep a separate app for Discovery, but if we want an app for Adult Swim, no, sir.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So I mean, if you're going to have a separate app for Discovery, why not just do one for Adult Swim? That seems like the direction you're starting to go in anyways.
No,
like,
Discovery has a lot more content.
True.
And multiple networks that it encompasses.
True, but if you're starting to invest in Adult Swim and Adult Swim eventually has more shows because of it, now you have an app that you can use.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I guess
You know what
Boomerang is still around too, so I guess it wouldn't be like unprecedented.
Yeah, Boomerang is still around, and that is also a head scratcher.
Well, and I mean, let's go even above that. You took some of your shows off of HBO Max and sent them to Tubi and Roku. Like, you want to talk about head scratcher? Like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, I know you got to make money, but like, if you're gonna do a TV channel, so to speak, like Pluto is doing with some of their show, like with some of the shows that are on there, you know, you could do that with Adult Swim. You could do a 24-hour free channel with Adult Swim, and people would love the shit out of that. I mean, I'm not saying you have to put it on network TV because obviously that's not what you want to do, but you could do it. There's enough content to do it. If you didn't get rid of Final Space, there would be even more content, but I'm not even going to go there.
Final Space and Infinity Train and Close Enough. Are you kidding me? Close Enough would be perfect for this expansion for Adult Swim.
Sketch, you're going to make me go cry in the corner now.
Yes.
Close Enough again.
Yes.
I'm so mad.
But see, Sketch, we don't just have Unicorn coming. We have another show coming.
No, the even more surprising thing, because, okay, Gendy, Adult Swim, these are common things, yes.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, DC and Adult Swim don't exactly never happen, but yeah, they're going to premiere a new DC animated series on Adult Swim.
And on Toonami.
I've been waiting for this for years.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing is, it's not going to premiere on Toonami. Though the people involved with developing it seem very excited that it's going to air on Toonami. And hey, a dream come true for them. That's awesome. Dream come true. I hope it doesn't become a nightmare. Because, this is a show that they were intending for, like tween audiences, and older viewers would be like a bonus. But if you're relying only on animation fans for this show to succeed, I'm worried.
Yeah.
Well, we don't.
Like...
But
Oh,
not
no.
to interrupt you, VLord, but
Let
we don't
VLord
even know.
talk. He hasn't talked much.
Well, let me just say this real quick. We don't know what this show really is yet. There was a description, but we don't know if it has more of an adult kind of content either. So,
Probably PG.
Yeah, I mean, considering it was made for Cartoon Network, I can't imagine they would add any adult content in, especially like this late into the game.
No, this isn't going to be Velma or Harley Quinn.
Yeah,
Mm.
and that's what concerns me, because it feels like, yeah, it's a DC show, but it's not really... I don't think it would necessarily have that cross appeal that, say, like, a show like Young Justice or like a Batman show would have, and that's what kind of concerns me.
Don't get me started, VLord.
And just the title alone is... Can you imagine Adult Swim airing a show called My Adventures with Superman?
No.
Not unironically. And maybe they should just give it a different title. But, yeah, it's... Huh.
Why do I feel like Jason has something to do with all of this?
Well, certainly possible.
He's
But
been very
hey,
quiet about it.
Jason said he was going to develop action shows for kids. Where are those, Jason? Where are those? I don't think any of them are going to be made. Because if these shows are going to Adult Swim, that just says to me that they're not going to make action cartoons for Cartoon Network. Except for something like Bat Wheels for preschoolers.
Does Bat Wheels really count, though?
Well,
It's action adjacent.
Fair enough.
I mean, keep in mind, Sketch. I think he's leaning more towards doing anime.
And
More
there's
than
plenty
he
of
is.
action in Teen Titans Go if you've
Yeah.
never watched
Yeah.
it.
So I mean, I do see him. I do see most of those shows probably going to Adult Swim, especially now.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be kids. It's going to be more adult-like. But VLord kind of mentioned it, and I have to. This gets brought up all the time, and now especially if you're going to put a fucking DC show on there, where the hell is Young Justice?
Yeah, where is Young Justice? Put that at 7 p.m.
Dude, it's if it's true still that you're not paying for these shows, which completely should be the way that it was. Fuck Turner for doing that, for not doing that, mind you.
No, that wasn't Turner's fault. That was
Wasn't it?
Warner's fault.
Well, they're all under the same umbrella though, so it was like
Yeah, but Warner Brothers was like, okay, fend for yourselves.
no, they were like, here, give us $1 million for this.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
give us
Warner, yeah.
insert amount of money. You know, it's like, wait, we're in the same thing here. Like, why can't you just give us a fucking show or movie? Like, are you fucking stupid?
And
like-
Warner turns to Turner and says, "What? You think this is Disney?"
Yes. Oh my god. Anyways, so
What kind of
like-
Mickey Mouse operation do you think we're running here?
like you could put Young Justice on fucking Toonami and it's free, I'm guessing. And if that's the case, then guess what? You have a long running show that
I
you
mean,
don't
they're
have to
putting
pay
this
for.
Superman show on there, so
Exactly. So
theoretically,
uh,
should
I mean-
extend to other DC things.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
a 100-episode show, though. It lasts us like 2 years, too. It'd be
Yeah,
fit.
yeah, exactly.
would be very good.
And people would love it.
I mean, if you put it on weekdays, you'd have a good weekday strip, and if you played it on Toonami, it would last for years. So, yeah, do that. And that's the killer thing. If they had come to this conclusion about how they want to do their programming, maybe a little bit sooner, that Batman show was going to be on Adult Swim. Dang it! It's all VLord's fault.
Hmm.
Legally, I cannot comment on the Batman show.
Yeah, well, I just hope it does well and doesn't end after quote-unquote 2 seasons, which we all know is speak for actually 1 season, but we're splitting it in 2. But I'm sure VLord can't comment on that. But we all know. Anyway, that Superman show, they do mention that that they intend to air it in quote unquote Adult Swim primetime hours. Okay, you want to throw that on where you probably should be airing Unicorn premieres? Good. I want to see that. On the other hand, if this experiment with Unicorn shows once again that Toonami was the place it should have premiered, maybe just premieres My Adventures with Superman on Toonami when the time comes. There's still time to do that.
Even better. So Adult Swim would always put their shows on Sundays. Like they would premiere some of their bigger shows on Sundays, like Rick and Morty and that.
Uh-huh.
Why not premiere it on Toonami and then play it the next day on Adult Swim on Sunday?
Yeah, they could do that.
I mean, that makes more sense to me.
Actually, a encore on a different night probably makes more sense because, for one thing, Adult Swim starts like at 9 on Sunday and doesn't have as much real estate. But still, it's worth considering. I just remember when they put Primal on Sunday, it did not work out so well.
Yeah.
But then again, maybe putting Primal on the same night that you're airing the Eric Andre show and not put them very far apart was not the best idea. Very different chaotic energy between those two. Very different. But that's just one man's opinion. Yeah. So what this means for us Toonami viewers is we're going to get some American action cartoons, and that is exciting. I'm thrilled to have these shows on Toonami. I wish they were premieres, but you know, we'll take what we can get.
In about time.
I'm just going to put this out there. Primal did really well last year. Like, really well. And it definitely helped get more eyeballs on Toonami at the time. So I think Unicorn Warriors Eternal could certainly do that too. Would do so far better if it was actually a premiere. But again, we're not getting that. But I'm pretty sure this is what's coming in to replace My Hero Academia, which we're still not quite sure why they decided to speed that up double time for several weeks, more than a month, in fact. Pretty much the second half of the season. Very, very curious choice, though. Perhaps if they had an acquisition that they were looking to start in May, and they also had this show drop into their laps suddenly, they thought, oh, shoot, we got to clear some space in one of our high-profile time slots. Fair enough. Hopefully, whatever else they have coming is good and interesting. Because yeah, Toonami's okay right now, but it could certainly be better. Opinions notwithstanding on that particular season of Food Wars.
The less said, the better.
Can we get double One Piece again, please? Do we need to? They are rerunning Primal once again. Season 2 rerunning Primal at 2:30. Top of season 2. Did they forget season 1 exists? I don't know. Honestly, it's at 2:30. I do not care. But we all know they have plenty of other shows they could rerun. Well, plenty might be an exaggeration. But they have some. I mean, they definitely have some. Or, give us back double One Piece and have a whole premiere night again. That'd be nice. I would be happy with that. But what I want most, because Adult Swim will now be starting at 7 p.m., is to move Toonami back to 11. You don't have to make it longer. Just have it start earlier. That's what I want. if you're going to be putting these American action cartoons on Toonami and taking what could be prime real estate for an anime premiere, then give us more good time slots for Toonami. Seems reasonable to me. They do not need 5 hours of comedy before Toonami on Saturday. That is overkill. Honestly, I don't know why that they are not letting Cartoon Network have Friday and Saturday nights too. Like, I can understand Monday through Thursday starting Adult Swim at 7, but give the kids the weekend. Come on. But then again,
just get with the time, Sketch, okay?
The kids are too busy playing Fortnite now.
It's true. It's true. The kids have moved on to streaming. They've moved on to video games. They've moved on to YouTube and TikTok and all of that. They want short bursts of entertainment, controlled entertainment on their time, on their demand. Linear television, not interesting to them. Is linear television interesting to your son, Paul?
Is what interesting to my son?
Linear television interesting to your son? Does your son turn on the TV and watch a channel for any long period of time?
I would say no.
There you go.
Right now, his obsession is JoJo. So.
Oh. How old is your son?
He is 17 years old.
Okay.
Yeah, that checks out.
That's fine.
So, well, the thing that he's watching it on Netflix, and I'm sitting here going, and then he's pulling me into watching it, and I'm just like, I'm giving him a look, and you can't see the look because you're listening to this podcast, but you can feel my look, so to speak. Like, really, dude, I hate Netflix.
It's not like you paid attention to JoJo when it was on Toonami.
I did. What was it? It was either the 3rd or the 4th season. I watched the whole thing. Yeah, it's the one where oh god,
is it the one with Dio?
Yes.
So probably the 3rd season.
Yeah, 3rd one. Yep.
Well, I think VLord and I can both agree that is the basic take.
Yeah, I mean, that's the worst season, so.
I love that season.
But it is, at a time, considered the most popular.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, it is the most popular. That's right.
I said at a time. I don't know if that's actually the case anymore.
I feel like it's fluctuated over to part 5, but it's hard to say.
Perhaps. I mean, Stardust Crusaders remains iconic, don't get me wrong. It definitely is iconic.
But yeah, I mean, well, first of all, at least we finally know some of the shows coming to Toonami that we can look forward to. Not being left in limbo, what's coming to Toonami soon. So, yeah. At least we have that. Obviously, we're waiting to see if they do get this. What is it? What is this Attack on Titan? It's 2 hour.
It's a TV special that should take up 3 time slots because it's 90 minutes.
So that's going to be
not 90
interesting.
minutes. It's 60 minutes of actual thing.
So it'll be an hour.
It's not an hour. It has to be more than an hour. It has to be
an hour and a half.
3
basically.
time slots. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be interesting to see if they get that, which I'm assuming they probably would, but that may not qualify.
It should qualify because it's considered an episode.
So, I mean, that's going to be interesting.
Yeah, that they have finally, at least we know that they are dubbing that now because the voice of Hanji has said that they started dubbing it. So, should be pretty soon.
I'm interested to see what's going on with Bleach still, if that's even a possibility, or that's just not even going to happen.
Well, if they've been saving their money, it probably would make sense if it was for that.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's that possibility out there. I mean, Food Wars kind of came out of nowhere, where I was kind of like, oh.
That did kind of come out of nowhere, because I honestly did not think that they were going to get that from Crunchyroll.
No, I didn't think so either. I'm like, oh, that's actually interesting. Okay. So, I mean, that was interesting.
Hopefully that means they can get Dr. Stone, which they also need to play a TV special for.
I was going to say Dr. Stone is out there, so we'll have to see if that's coming.
Let the record show that Paul was going to mention Dr. Stone.
I was going to say Fire Force 2 whenever that's supposed to, the second season, or the third season, right? Yeah, third season.
Third
supposed
season.
To drop.
I think that's not going to be until next year.
Who knows anymore? These animes, I'm just confused about when they're supposed to come out and whatever. So
fair. It is confusing
because it changes every time. I feel like sometimes it changes. Like since the pandemic, like they're like, oh, it's coming out then, and then they're like, no, it's coming out this time. Okay, all right, whatever. So,
well, by the way, that press release did specifically mention Uzumaki, so it's coming.
Hopefully,
October, maybe.
I mean, I think we're gonna probably see Fooly Cooly before we see that, but
I'm surprised that Fooly Cooly grunge hasn't happened yet. I'm a little baffled by that, but I guess it's gonna come in the second half of the year.
I feel like it's gonna be summer.
Yeah. I feel like they're gonna have something coming up here because, I mean, usually around this time,
they got Unicorn Warriors Eternal.
Well, yeah, right. But I mean, usually around this time, we hear something. I don't know. We start getting more and more shows around this time, so it's like, what's going on here?
Well, they got 2 slots to fill in May, and we only know one of them's definitely getting filled. So,
and by the way, if you're encoring things on Toonami, clearly you value Toonami. Obviously, Toonami makes money. The joke that we all speak of. But so if that's the case, are you giving Toonami more money, or are they just sitting there not getting more money? Like, I don't know.
That is a good question.
I mean, you specifically are encoring these shows on Toonami for a reason. So if you're doing that, are you giving Toonami more money to try to go get other shows? That's my question. That's a big question that I have right now, because you obviously are valuing it. So what does that mean? You know what I mean? Like it doesn't, again, that's another head scratcher. Like what, okay, you want to encore these shows on there. Great. Why? Great. Why? Are you giving us money?
Here's the thing, Paul. If they encore these things in major slots on Toonami, they can avoid spending more money.
That's true.
I think that's the point.
I mean, that is the point, but then give them money to go out and get like a show like Bleach, or a show like some other show out there that Sentai has, you know, shows that they can actually get, you know, like, and hopefully maybe Crunchyroll will finally stop being stupid asses and let us have shows that we should have had a while ago, like Demon Slayer. Dumb fucks.
I don't think we're ever getting Demon Slayer again.
Maybe. I don't. I think I think that they may have
closed the door on trying to get Jujutsu Kaisen.
Yeah, that might be a possibility too. Who knows?
Well, if they're willing to loan out Food Wars, who's to say what they would potentially be willing to work with them on? I don't know. Also, pretty interesting that right around the time that the crossover One Piece special happened, the the One Piece airing started using the Crunchyroll logo instead of the Funimation one. Now, I always just figured they would just keep that going until they ran out of tapes, but I think they actually got new tapes to properly brand going forward. And of course, Food Wars also has the Crunchyroll logo. So, despite what we might think of Crunchyroll, they are currently programming most of the block. Though One Piece is a unique situation. Just putting that out there. Though that wouldn't be the case if My Hero wasn't doubled up, which it currently is. It feels like they are really kind of a little too stuck on, we can't get these shows we want, we're not sure what to do.
Even though maybe then they should go after smaller shows.
Exactly.
Yeah, or older shows that Crunchyroll would probably be like, yeah, sure, take it.
Yeah,
I mean,
the High Dive catalog, or Sentai catalog.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I was saying Sentai, yeah. I mean, at this point, it just, and obviously we're coming up on the time here, but like, I'm going to say this one more time because I preach about this all the time on Twitter. I'm going to say this one more time. It is okay to dip into your library and grab a show that you haven't played for a long time, like Ghost in the Shell. Ghost in the Shell has not played on Toonami in a long time. Just put it on.
Why are you Doug the dog right now?
I don't know, because I feel like these idiots at the network are being stupid. Like, you have a free show. You don't want to spend money, so just put it on there. Like, I just don't get it.
Yeah, but at this point, an additional rerun would not be met with any happiness whatsoever.
Okay, let me put it to you this way. Let me make this.
But instead of the upteenth run of Primal Season 2 specifically,
you read my mind. Yes.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, thank you.
Sure.
Like, you could put Ghost in the Shell on if you still can play Cowboy Bebop on TV. Great, put it back on. Like, everybody loves Cowboy Bebop. They'll watch it for 50 times over and over again.
Play IGPX, doggone it.
Well, I don't know if they can play that anymore, but yeah, that too. So
it's also baffling that they have not replayed Fooly Cooly Alternative or Progressive.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna have, if this is coming out soon, like, you maybe should put the shows back on.
I've seen it theorized that they keep cycling Primal because Plan A was originally to cycle all those shows that premiered last year. And all those shows got written off, so now all they have is Primal.
Well, but here's the thing, like, it's not just that you're recycling Primal. It's that you keep recycling season 2 of Primal and not just playing the first season and then the second season.
Now, I could understand replaying the second season at least once, maybe twice, but then stop pretending like the first season doesn't exist.
Exactly. Go to the first season. It's fine. Again, nobody is going to get pissed if you play the whole run of Primal.
Well,
maybe people would actually go, thank you. Well, I mean, the occasional...
They would be slightly relieved.
I mean, the occasional idiots that go, oh, you're obsessed with Toonami. Those kinds of idiots, yeah.
Yeah.
Did I say that? Oh, I'm sorry.
That's why. Whatever.
We're a little sassy today.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I am looking forward to having American action cartoons on Toonami, even if they're slightly used. We'll see how that goes. I just really hope that Toonami has some quality acquisitions that will show up sooner than later, because it's been a pretty dry year. And we don't know what the schedule is going to be in the coming weeks. It looks like they might actually finish off My Hero double stripped And that would happen on the 15th of April. So then you got the 22nd and you have the 29th of April. I think that's, let me look at a calendar.
You were supposed to come prepared.
Yeah. Yeah, the 22nd and the 29th. So we got those weeks. One of them could be the Attack on Titan special, and it should be. Who could say what they'll do with the other one? Play another DC movie? Play the Dr. Stone TV special. It needs to air before season 3. Please don't do another Made in Abyss. You know what I'm talking about. Canonical things need to air. Honestly, it wasn't that big of a deal with Made in Abyss. I think people just kind of got over that pretty quick. But don't make a habit of it. It is a TV special, not a movie, so theoretically, they should be able to get the license to that. Just do it. But if perchance that doesn't happen, hey, it's one of the few, 7 things that you can watch on Crunchyroll for free right now. So watch it, because season 3 coming. At least to Crunchyroll. Maybe not Toonami, but here's hoping. Yeah, what a pittance that is. 7 shows are basically all that they offer to watch for free with ads. At least they rotate what those shows are, so eventually you'll get to see a lot of things, but they have hundreds of shows. It's ridiculous. But yeah, there's some definite bangers in the free catalog right now. Ranking of Kings, all of Dr. Stone so far, Tonikawa, lots of good stuff. Oh, and the Ancient Magus Bride too. That's a good one. Well, now that I'm done plugging Crunchyroll, yeah, it's a tumultuous time for Toonami, as it often is. But there are interesting things on the horizon, depending on how you look at it. And yeah, it is a bummer that these things are not premiering on Toonami, but they're airing there. and probably just a day or two after they premiered somewhere else on Adult Swim. And I understand the strategy, because let's be real here. You could play any of those shows on Toonami without advertisements and people will watch them.
Mm-hmm.
But if you put them on Adult Swim any random day of the week without advertisement, they're not going to get watched. They're not going to get noticed, other than for the people that are like, hey, wasn't American Dad supposed to be on right now? Or Rick and Morty. So that is just how it is. And that is unfortunate. So I'm glad that they are promoting it. And yeah, it's also good to see action animation not be restricted to Toonami. That's good to see. I'm disappointed to this day that Space Dandy didn't run anywhere else on Adult Swim when it totally should have.
Mm-hmm.
Don't even get me started on Pop Team Epic. Because that is an Adult Swim show. That'd be fun if they played season 2 of that. Honestly, what I saw of it was more entertaining than season 1. And I liked season 1 all right, but season 2, definitely stronger. At least of what I saw of it, which is 4 episodes so far. Yeah. But I'm rambling.
Yes, you are.
Yes, I am. Oh, yeah. If we get some news before I'm done editing this podcast, I will probably stick that in right about here. And if we don't got any news, then I guess we're about done. I feel like VLord hasn't said much. VLord, do you have any additional commentary that is not an NDA problem?
I mean, I'm excited for Unicorn. I like we kind of discussed. I kind of wish it was a Toonami premiere, but honestly, I'm probably gonna watch it on Toonami anyways, just because I usually watch TV around when Toonami is airing, more so than when the other parts of Adult Swim are around. So yeah, I think it's annoying, but it's also like I'm still gonna watch it on Toonami anyways, so it is what it is.
Yeah, pretty much. Regardless, the show looks amazing, and I'm really looking forward to watching it. And it's nice that it's finally airing, because this has been in development for a couple of years now, and we got teasers every now and then of information, but not really any animation or much of anything. And we finally have trailers, and it looks fantastic. It's animated by the same studio that they did Primal at in France, so it all looks really good. And I'm interested to see how mature it actually will be. They gave it a PGV rating on the promo, so I don't expect it to be Primal, but maybe something closer to the violence of Samurai Jack on Adult Swim. After all, the most recent kids, quote-unquote, cartoon that Gendy made was Symbionic Titan, and they got pretty violent.
The trailer kind of reminded me of like the war scenes from Symbionic Titan, like on the home world.
Mm-hmm. I mean, characters got choked out and beat up in interrogation and stuff in that show, so I don't think that there will be a lacking in mature content per se, but it won't be overt, and I don't have a problem with that. I don't think adult animation has to be particularly violent or particularly raunchy. The fact that Adult Swim is kind of expanding beyond that is exciting to me. These might not be the right shows to be attempting it with, since they were originally intended for Cartoon Network, but we'll see. I'm just excited to see them, and I'm glad that they are not getting written off. At least not yet. Oh boy. So I think it's important that we support these shows, wherever they may end up. Including that Batman show, which I will definitely be watching on Amazon. But as for Toonami, we'll see. There are things on the horizon. Some we know about, some we don't. And yeah, that about does it.
Are we sure?
Well, do you have anything else to add, Paul?
Tell us how you feel, Paul.
No, because you'll try to stab me if I keep adding more stuff. No.
Well, if you're quick about it.
No, I don't have anything to add. I think I've said my piece. I mean, like I said, I just hope that, I just hope we get some more clarity here, because there's way too much head scratching going on right now. And it just doesn't make sense. Hopefully they figure it all out and everything's good. The one thing that I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt that I was kind of worried about is I was thinking that, and you might have thought this too, is that Toonami was probably going to end once it hit its 11 years.
No, that's definitely not happening now.
No, it's definitely not happening now. So it's like, okay. Because I mean, why would you end something that you're trying to encore shows on? So, I'm just sitting here going, all right, I guess I'm here for the ride. Let's keep going.
True that. Toonami might change in ways that you do not like. That is certainly a possibility. If you're in for Toonami mainly for the acquisitions, I can understand why you have already lost interest. Because if you don't like One Piece or Naruto, there ain't much for you. Just kind of a dabble here and there. And I do understand those concerns. But I feel the more important thing is that Toonami continues to be the home of fantastic action animation, first and foremost. And if that means some additional reruns, so to speak, that's not necessarily a bad thing. It depends, but I'm not gonna be mad about that beyond slight disappointment that it's not premiering on Toonami. Because I get it. They want as many eyeballs on these things as possible, so premiere it on Adult Swim, stream it on HBO Max, encore it on Toonami. Just like with Primal. And supposedly, that worked well for Primal. According to Michael O'Lean, who made a point of mentioning how Primal was successful last year in all those metrics. So there you go. It's all about being successful in all the metrics, as opposed to just one. Yeah, hopefully they don't divide the audience too much. I'm sorry, VLord, I interrupted you.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, yeah, I mean, show performance is holistic. You're not just looking at a raw ratings number. Raw ratings numbers are usually a terrible sign of performance.
True. Especially at this point. Oh my, how cable has fallen. Pretty much everything except live sports and news. It's a sad state of affairs.
Yeah, and even sports, so much of it's moving to streaming as well. So that's going to be interesting in the coming years.
Yeah. You can't stop it. It's all gonna happen. So it's kind of refreshing to see Adult Swim say, "Nay, we will continue to air linear."
Even though most of these shows are probably going to go to HBO Max eventually.
Oh, they will within days, if not like the same night. That's just the way it is. But hey, like I said, maybe this means things that were supposedly exclusive to HBO Max, like Scavengers, might maybe actually air on TV first. Who knows? It's quite a thing going from management that believes completely in putting everything on streaming to management that believes in putting everything on cable and in theaters. Quite conflicting ideals. No wonder things are totally crazy. All right, well, I think that'll do it. As always, we will keep you up to date on any of these things that involve Toonami, and hopefully we have good news soon.
Yes, we can only hope.
All right, Paul, why don't you do the thing?
Oh, I don't have like a harmonica to play us out or anything.
Yeah, you're not the Ro.
No, I'm not. So you can email us, podcast@toonamifaithful.com, if you have anything you want to say, any feedback, any talkbacks, Please do email us. Again, that's podcast@toonamifaithful.com. You can follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Facebook is facebook.com/ToonamiFaithfulPodcast. On Twitter, it's @ToonamiPodcast. So if you want to hear our episodes, that's the first place to go. Obviously, our podcast is on every single app that's out there. Just by searching the term Toonami Faithful Podcast, you can find our podcast on, like I said, pretty much every podcast app. But there again, it seems like there's a new podcast app every day, so who knows? But you can find the ones that we want you to listen to us on are Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, Stitcher, and of course, SoundCloud, soundcloud.com/ToonamiFaithfulPodcast. That is the place that has every single episode from episode 1 all the way to this one. So please do listen to us on there. And there is a free app that you can download in the store and subscribe to us on that app. So you can also do SoundCloud if you want to. And then, of course, if you want to donate to us, you can go to ToonamiFaithful.com/donate. There you can subscribe to our Patreon, which is a once a month subscription where we have content on there that we've done in the past. There's our PayPal link where you can just give us money once if you'd like. And then there's our Right Stuff link, which actually still works, ironically. And if you buy things on the Right Stuff store, we get a portion of that profit, and it goes to help fund the website and all that other stuff. So Sketch can tell you he's bought a lot of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, that's about it. So VLord, where can they find you, sir?
People can find me on Twitter at VLordGTZ. And then I write various things for the Toonami Faithful website when I have time, as well as MangaMavericks.com. So check out my writing over there. And then I do a bunch of podcasts, which at this point is just dubbed the VLord podcast universe. I'm just embracing the name.
Mm-hmm.
So the head honcho of that you can find is the Demon Slayer podcast at DSlayer Podcast, where we talk about the Demon Slayer anime and manga. With the new season coming up, we're going to have a lot of content for Demon Slayer over there. And besides that, there's the Dumb Moves podcast, the Dumb Moves Pod, Saturday Night Shoggy at Saturday Night Shoggy, and Oversoul Shaman King podcast at Shaman King Pod. So go listen to all of those.
You're a madman, VLord. I'm just gonna say that.
I can't even deny this.
I grabbed him last minute for this podcast. He's like, "Yeah, I'm done working today. I can join." The rare VLord.
And Sketch, where can they find you, sir?
You can find me on Twitter at Sketch1984. And Paul, where can they find you?
Well, you can find me on Twitter at PulpSkrillo. You can email me, pulpskrillo@ToonamiFaithful.com. And yeah, that's about it. And when we do Two Strangers, One Podcast, you can listen to that podcast as well. And I'm on that one. So.
Yeah, I had this thought. Adult Swim's going to start at 7 p.m. now on Saturday. In 2004, Toonami started at 7 p.m. and Adult Swim started at 11. This year, Adult Swim starts at 7. Toonami starts at midnight. What a topsy-turvy world we live in.
They just got to move it by 1 hour. That'll be perfect.
Yes, exactly. Yet another reason why it started at 11. Started at 11, ended at 2. I need my sleep. I got work in the morning. It's not fun waking up at 8 a.m.
No, not at all.
Or earlier. Sometimes it's earlier. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Toonami Faithful Podcast and all the other episodes that you've listened to. We hope you've enjoyed this roundabout conversation where we ranted a bit, and hope you got some entertainment value out of us, yelling at things that we are very confused by.
Exactly. That's because we're old men, but
we're just the old men yelling at clouds.
Excuse you, I'm not old yet.
But are you old in spirit?
Maybe.
Right.
That's something to think about.
Mm-hmm. Some people are just born an old man. I gotta believe that Joe Pera was born an old man.
All right, and with that, thank you guys for listening to this episode of the Toonami Faithful podcast. Peace. We're out.
The souls of 3 powerful warriors are reborn throughout time to face an ultimate evil.
She has powers. She might be the evil we've been fighting against.
From the mind of Gendy Tartakovsky comes a new animated series, a lifetime in the making. Unicorn Warriors Eternal, premiering May 4th at midnight on Adult Swim.
Sergeant and Mr. Smith, you're gonna love this house.
Bunk beds in a closet?
There's no field manual for finding the right home. But when you do, USAA Homeowners Insurance can help protect it the right way. Restrictions apply.
Hello, this is VLord GTZ, and with me I have Laser Kid.
Hello!
And we're here today not for a traditional episode, but for an announcement. We're launching a Demon Slayer podcast Patreon.
Yay!
And you might be asking, why Patreon? Why does Demon Slayer podcast need a Patreon? And the simple answer is, making podcasts takes lots of time, lots of effort, and it's a commitment. And I am usually the one that has to edit a lot of the episodes, and occasionally we have been offloading the editing to some of our friends that are editors or have like the ability to edit stuff. Laser's done a few episodes, Sakaki's done a few episodes, our friend James has done a few episodes. But, like, I want to be able to pay people for that type of editing, and also I want to also generate funds that we can use to improve the podcast, get better equipment, get extra resources, like getting manga, art books, other materials that we can do, and use to discuss stuff on the podcast, make it bigger, make it better. And that's really where Patreon comes into play. We want to be able to kind of get that direct support from our fans and listeners that have been enjoying us over all these years. And we think Patreon is just kind of the perfect platform to do that.
Yeah, I mean, it's better than getting on a train.
Exactly. I mean, think about it. You could get on a train where absolutely nothing bad can happen.
Nope, nothing bad at all.
Or you can join the sanctuary of the Demon Slayer podcast Patreon, where there's just peace and quiet and no trains to be found.
There will never be a train on the Patreon, we promise.
Unless we review Thomas the Tank Engine, I guess.
Yeah, perhaps.
Okay, I'm noting it down as a future Patreon idea, guys.
Oh God, you know they're going to make us do it, right?
Yeah, they totally will. But yeah, speaking of things, I guess let's run through quickly what different options you have to joining the Patreon. I wanted to make this kind of very structured as possible so that even when you're going in as the lowest tier, you're at least getting something. So even if you're joining $1 a month, you'll get access to our upcoming release schedule. And alongside the Patreon, we're also going to be going out to have a much more rigid schedule for the podcast. And this does not only include the Demon Slayer podcast, but the entire VLord podcast universe, as Laser has joked it into existence.
I seriously did not intend to create it as an actual thing, but now it's an actual thing.
Yeah, so I guess that's the big thing to note here. Even though the flagship of this Patreon is the Demon Slayer podcast, it basically encapsulates all the podcasts that are affiliated with it. So the Dumb Weebs podcast that Laser and I do, with Allison J-Mac and Amperen, Saturday Night Shaggy with Marion and Sakaki, and also Oversoul Shaman King podcast with Marion and Sakaki. So if you're a fan of any of those, this Patreon will be beneficial to getting extra perks and benefits that are kind of associated with those podcasts. And like, that's kind of where we really want to get into the bigger benefits here. So if you donate $3 a month, you will be able to get early access to all our episodes before they publicly release. You may have noticed on our podcast feeds now that our episodes now play with ads. And that's because we've been given the opportunity to monetize our podcast thanks to Spotify. So now on all platforms, you may see ads as like a pre-roll or a mid-roll or post-roll. And if you are donating to the Patreon at the $3 tier, these early-released versions of the episodes will also be ad-free. So you won't have to worry about ads. You're already paying us money directly, so we aren't going to have you listen to more ads or anything. So yeah, if you want that extra perk, it's there for you. And the real fun, though, starts at the $5 tier, where every month we're going to be recording one exclusive podcast episode for our $5 tier listeners. And these will probably be a variety of things. They aren't going to just stick to Demon Slayer. We could go on a long tangent about ReZero.
Especially if we get J-Mac on board.
Oh, yes. Yeah, we could have a ton of fun with that. We could talk about, maybe, seasonal anime. Really anything. So we'll probably figure it out more structurally, what we want to do for those exclusive podcasts every month. But for now, it's going to be kind of a dealer's choice of whatever we kind of feel like. And if you guys have any suggestions for what you want for that monthly bonus podcast to be, let us know, of course. But yeah, I mean, that's going to be kind of the big benefit for supporting us, is getting that extra dose of podcast goodness every month. And if you want to take it to the next level, though, to go even beyond...
We're going Super Saiyan 3?
Yes, we're going Super Saiyan 3 here. That's where the $7 tier is, where you'll get access to our podcast outtakes. Do you want to hear us talk about trains even more? Do you want to see our terrible technical difficulties? Do you want to see me choking on my own spit? That's where you're going to see a $7 tier.
Do you want to see Meowth murdering us?
Yes, do you want to see Meowth murdering us? That's all going to be the $7 tier. And for the $7 tier too, we're also going to be setting up polls to decide upcoming episodes. That will be for public episodes of the podcast. So for any of the podcasts, SNS, Oversoul, Dumb Weebs. But also it could be for the patron exclusive podcast as well. We'll figure that out once we get enough patrons to kind of make it kind of a more cohesive thing. But that's kind of the plan for that. And yeah, I mean, if you're interested in seeing all those hilarious outtakes of us embarrassing ourselves, that's where that's going to be. And honestly, I might also sometimes just release unedited episodes for people on that tier if you want that content super early.
An episode where we have a tangent in the middle of it about something completely unrelated. Happens more often than you'd think.
Yeah, basically every recording.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the final tier that we have here is the $25 tier, which will essentially allow you to choose any anime, manga, or topic for us to discuss on a podcast within reason every 4 months.
I'm not reading any hentai, sorry.
I will read hentai.
You will.
Yeah, so, I mean, I guess hentai is fine if you really want us to review hentai. But, yeah, I mean, within reason, though. So we do have right to refusal if it's something that's, too out there. But I feel like we're pretty chill for the most part, so most things are fair game.
Almost anything is probably fine, and between all of us, we probably have a way of finding it.
Yeah, probably. And you'll also get a thank you shout out at the end of every podcast episode. So you'll be immortalized in every episode once you become a patron. And that's one other thing I forgot to mention too, is that at every tier you're going to get that patron shout out, of course. So that'll be on the first episode after you join that we record. So it might not be the episode that comes out the next following week you join, but it will be the next one that we record. But yeah, I think that's kind of the basic rundown of all the tiers. And I really hope that if you guys are enjoying the podcast and kind of want us to make bigger and more ambitious content, that you're interested in supporting us.
We greatly appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure. So you can find our Patreon on Patreon at patreon.com/Demon Slayer Podcast Universe. And yeah, just whatever you're able to give, feel free to give it.
We want you for the Demon Slayer crew.
Indeed. And I do want to emphasize too, is like, if you're already able to support us for whatever reason, don't worry. The amount of content we're releasing on the public feed isn't going to change anytime soon. This is just an extra icing on top for the people that want to support us. And we greatly appreciate anything.
We're absolutely still going to record content. It's still going to go out. And what you're getting, you're totally still getting. If you can't do it, hey, I can't Patreon everything I watch and read. I get it.
I mean, sometimes you gotta pick and choose.
Indeed. But for those of you that can, thank you.
Yeah, I think that about does it. So we will see you guys later.